Even though millions have already left Ukraine, there are still families inside the country suffering. Mariupol in the southeastern region is in desperate need of help. Newsy correspondent Jason Bellini has been covering Russia's war on Ukraine and has their story tonight. And we do want to warn you, the images are disturbing.
This is Mariupol, a city of about 400,000 on Ukraine's south coast. Once a center of industry, now a center of misery. Residential apartment buildings destroyed. Victims of Putin's war lie where they fell. No water, no power, no heat. Utterly transformed in a week of war. It's on the verge of being unlivable, and ringed by Russian troops, it's also virtually unescapable. The lack of water for 4 days, claiming a young victim. Ukraine's president on Wednesday cried out for help for Mariupol. For the first time in dozens of years, the first time since the Nazi invasion, a child died of dehydration, he said. Dear partners, hear me today. The child died of dehydration in 2022. From Lviv in western Ukraine.
That was not war. It was something horrifying.
Newsy reached Diana Burke. A few days ago, she and her husband made a daring escape from Mariupol.
We knew it was a suicide mission, but...
Diana says she's only alive because she was lucky.
Did you encounter the Russians on the road when you got out?
Twice. Some of them were pointing their arms at us, and we just drove through the column.
What do you think is going to happen to the people that are still there in Mariupol?
It's the most painful question for us now. It's either they will die of starvation or bombing, or Russia will provide green corridor to somewhere.
There have been several efforts to get supplies in by bus and civilians out. An estimated 200,000 people want to, nearly half of the city's population. But despite assurances, Ukraine says the Russians won't stop shelling. This hospital serving Mariupol's injured reports that it's running out of pain medications and anesthesia. The emergency room doctor says for days now he's been working without any electricity or heat. Some shops opened their doors, telling people to take the few supplies left. Others were looted. Why are you stealing everything? Shouts the shopkeeper. The Ukrainian army's protecting the few bottles of water that remain for distribution. This is for women and children and elderly people, says the soldier. You men can go and look for water. Diana says she just read a message board post that someone in Mariupol managed to send. It said,
thanks God it was snow today. Now we have some water. We've melted it on a fire in our yard.
With no real way to get out. Food and most critically water, a thin line between a child's death and life in a city under siege.
Jason, 1 million child refugees. Immediately the mind goes to, are they safe? Are they accompanied? Are they at risk of trafficking? Who's protecting these kids?
Such a great question, and the situations vary, of course. We see many mothers who are holding tight to their children when they cross over the border, and we're often seeing very young children. We're seeing children that may be under a year old that are being brought out. That's, I think, some of the mothers with the young children are the ones who want to get out most desperately. And there was some images that we just saw yesterday of a child who appeared to be just sort of wandering around on his own at one of the border checkpoints in Poland. And we didn't really get the story behind that, but it certainly got me wondering, what is going on here? Are there unaccompanied children who are under 10 years old who are just wandering about and how vulnerable they might be. I mean, you have a lot of support that's coming in from Western countries, but you can just imagine how people could so easily slip through the cracks right now when, well, we're up to 2 million people and 1 million of them being children. And others, not to get into too many numbers, but there's also 1 million orphans in this country. An astounding number. What's happening with them? Some of them are in really difficult places. Are they getting out? Are they being taken care of? We just don't know.
1 million orphans in a country of 40 million people. And then you have to think of everybody who's internally displaced and just hope that these kids are being taken care of. Jason Bellini, I'm glad you're telling their story. Thank you.